So I just read the bonus material for Severance, the Lexington letters, and oh boy, was there way more kind of reveals or kind of super duper kind of big hints to things that are going on in the show. Way more than I thought they'd put in. It kind of annoys me that it's not just kind of in the show. Like, how many people are watching the show that just have no idea? Like me, this came out like 8 days ago. I had no idea. They revealed this though. Kind of feels like maybe it should have been like an extended cold opening to have this whole sequence play out. Although, the way it's kind of like a letter where Peggy is kind of talking like Innie and Audi, Peggy kind of talking to each other. You know, I guess it kind of works for letter format. She's writing in a letter. Like, the format totally works for a book. And then we get the Lumen manual where they're like, this is what you do as a micro refiner. And, you know, it works for a book. But I think you're making a show. People are watching the show. Maybe put all this huge information in the show, because it's bonus material. But oh boy, do they pretty much imply that when you're doing the micro refining data and you're doing the numbers and you're like, ooh, these numbers make me feel angry. You're blowing up trucks. You're killing people. What the hell? How it all kind of works and fit together. It's not kind of, you know, explicitly stated. And obviously, it's still theories and speculation and all that stuff. But that's what I live for, baby. Theories and speculation. I love that it's not like 100% confirmed. But it pretty much is. Because Peggy's like, I think you caused a bomb with the Lexington thing. And she's like, I think you're right. Yeah, you're definitely right. It's definitely got some kind of connection. Whether or not they're doing kind of stuff and working with drones or, you know, working with that kind of situation where it's some kind of, you know, robotic kind of, you know, system they're working on. They just don't know they're doing it, which would be really clever. Like, it's even better than my super secret sleeper agent spy kind of situation. It's like, you're doing all this stuff and you want to do all this, like, evil, dirty work, but you're like, no one wants to do this evil, dirty work. Well, what if we make them think they're just doing nonsense on a computer, but they're doing dirty, evil work? It's clever, it's amazing, it's classic giant corporations that want to do sinister, evil stuff. You just make your workers do it. And then the people living at home, they're watching the news, they don't even know I caused that car crash, you know? But yeah, just crazy. Like, a bomb goes off, it's espionage, it's corporate espionage. They're doing crazy stuff. They're setting off bombs. How many people has Mark killed? Oh my God. Oh, the idea that they get a little reward and they're like, you get a waffle party. The waffle party is they're dancing over the corpses of all the people they've killed. Terrifying, horrific. This show is amazing. I like the idea that they're doing this little code thing and it's seeped back into her brain, which shows that they're still connected as well. We've never really had that kind of connection between the characters. And I guess in the written format, which I guess goes against me being like, it should have been on the show. Something really interesting in the written kind of format is we get this person's perspective where she steps out of the elevator and she feels the stuff that she's feeling inside, but we don't know what's going on inside. And that's kind of an interesting way to look at it, because all the characters we see are either the Innies and we don't see the Audis, or it's Mark with both. So if he feels a certain way when he gets out, we know why, because we saw the inside. So I don't know, it's kind of interesting. I would really like to see a cold open though of like a character that's just the Audi being like, what's going on with my Innie? And then getting these notes. I think it could have been a really, really amazing opening scene, you know, to start the finale or something, to imply all these big things. It does seem crazy to me. It's an amazing little read. If for some reason you're reading or watching this, and you're like, I haven't read it, go check it out. It's free. It's short. It's like 40 minutes. When I started reading it first, I was like, oh boy, I haven't like properly read like a book since Dance of Dragons, which came out, as everyone knows, 500 years ago. And, you know, I plan to never read another book again because the sixth one, it's never coming. It's not the video for this. It's not the video for this. But yeah, just at first I was like, oh boy, reading's hard. I really wish there was a show. But I did get into it. The character's really fun. It's really interesting. The way it's kind of like shaped where she's just constantly talking to her Innie and she doesn't really understand, you know, what's going on in there. She hears things like the break room. We're like, oh, the break room's bad, Peggy. You don't want to know. It's just a really fascinating way to kind of look at the show from this Audi's point of view, not looking in and not seeing inside. And it's come at a really interesting point in the series. I wonder why they put it at this place and not like at the end of the series. I'm wondering if they're doing little hints. I think we're going to get a big crazy kind of revelation in the last couple of episodes. It's going to be crazy. Like, honestly, it's such an interesting little kind of dive into everything. We got all this little extra stuff as well. Like, one of the editor-in-chiefs is like, oh, I don't know, this all seems a bit flimsy and loose, and oh, she's just throwing allegations. I spoke to someone high up at Lumen and they say it's all good. Your name's Milchek. I've met another Milchek. He's a piece of shit. Was he your brother or cousin? You're all pieces of shit. I don't like the Milchek family, and I don't trust him one bit. He's an editor, like an editor-in-chief for a newspaper. That is terrifying. That is terrifying. Lumen is so high up. They've got so much more kind of power than it feels like they have in this show. In this show, it's like, is Lumen just here in this town? They're doing crazy experiments. Whereas it appears now that Lumen's everywhere. She's like, oh yeah, I used to have toothbrush, or she said something from her childhood. I can't remember now, but it was something from her childhood, and she used like a Lumen product. So Lumen isn't just some big company that's doing biotechnology or whatever. They're like doing everything. So they're huge and big, and so their kind of power feels like a lot bigger. And I guess maybe it's just seeing somewhere else, like a different Lumen. It just suddenly makes it go, oh yeah, they've got lots of buildings everywhere. I don't know. Super, super exciting. Super keen to see the next episode that's coming out in like, so soon, like 10 minutes. This whole thing, just like the experience of it was so interesting because you're reading and you're like, oh, this is a little fun, like a little different side of everything. And then when she's like, and then that day happened and she didn't respond, and it starts building and building, it starts getting tenser and tenser. And then suddenly the tragedy of the letter ending, and she's been like, so my Innie, they died, you know, and just seeing from the outside perspective as well, being like, well, I don't want to like quit because maybe that'll kill her and she's me, and I don't know, all of that was really, really fascinating. Then when she gets in the elevator, gets back out, and it's like, oh, it's only been 10 minutes. So intense. And the fact that Peggy, she went in there, went, oh no, it's not good, got in the elevator, must have escaped, she's dead. Like she like, I don't know, it's just such an intense little like moment. And then the fact that, you know, she's writing the letter, the editor-in-chief's like, no, we're quiet, we're shutting down the little person, we're not going to listen to him. Horrific, such a terrifying, like real world kind of little thing. It's just so awful. And then to have her die, of course she died. Of course they got to her on the outside. Tragic, heartbreaking, just such a devastating thing. There was a bit where she's like, read through all the pamphlets and the secrets are there. I was reading through it and I'm like, I've clocked off for work for the day. This is meant to be fun. I don't want to be sitting like I'm sitting at work reading a pamphlet of like, this is how you do your job, and and you do this thing. I'm like, boo, boring. No, I don't want to watch this how-to guide. Like I got through it, but it felt a bit draining. I guess that's the point, but I don't know. I didn't find any secret clues or hints to anything, but mostly because I was so like, this is like a chore. You got a little clippy, and the clippy's like, do you need any help with this? And I'm like, shut up! No, I don't. And it's all got like fun facts. If you're having fun and you're working as hard as you possibly can, you'll be rewarded at work. Shut up, you little chippy, whatever you called. Sevi, I think they call it. Sevi. I don't trust you, Sevi, you monster. Thanks for watching, guys. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and I'd love to know, has everyone read this? Is everyone like, what the hell? Why did they reveal so much? They're bombing trucks and doing espionage and crazy shit? What's going on?